Polyp works here with chapter 1114 of One Piece, entitled The Wings of Icarus. Okay, boy, I love answers. Yes, I do. Yes, sir. Because in this chapter, I'm just going to come right to the chase. In this chapter, we find out that Joy Boy was a devil fruit user that lived in the ancient kingdom, and he, like Luffy, had the human fruit model Nika. This is a great confirmation because I don't think we were sure if Joy Boy was a devil fruit user or not. Because from what Zunisha was going on about in Wano, it seemed as though Joy Boy and Nika were one and the same. And that's kind of true. He was just the last person who achieved awakening with the human fruit model Nika. So that is great. That is a wonderful and joyous confirmation. I am so happy we finally know that. Answers, baby. I love answers. I love that we are getting somewhere. Almost 20 years of questions, and now we're getting answers. So here's the really interesting bit about all of this. This means that one, Nika is a deity from Elbaf. That too, I'm really weirded out by, because it says here from the Elbaf fables, which I hope that's what's said in the official translation, because Elbaf is just fable spelled backwards. So the fables. Okay, that's not the point. But it's weird that Nika is an Elbaf deity. So I wonder if that's true. Does Big Mom know about Nika? And when she knows that Luffy is Nika, would her attitude change towards Luffy? There's so much to talk about here. Because, okay, that does explain why Luffy kind of instinctually went to gear third and said his arm is the size of a giant. It makes so much sense that there's so much like giant ability. There's so much gigantification associated with the human fruit model Nika, because it comes from Elbaf. That also means that no doubt Buccaneers are like some sort of weird half giant. There's no way. I won't believe it, especially seeing as how, but I called this way back in the day, that Whitebeard and Kuma were related, because even in the chapter in which Kuma becomes a warlord, I believe that's chapter 1100, Alvida, of all people, Alvida compares Kuma to the size of Whitebeard, and that's kind of true. I think Kuma is like only a few inches taller than Whitebeard, so that makes you think, man. And then Whitebeard, well, I think he is an albino. That's what I think. But it's weird that like such an important person is associated with white as well. So yeah, I'm not saying I predicted Whitebeard was a Buccaneer, but I predicted Whitebeard was a Buccaneer. That is crazy. This makes me think too, I wonder, do like the ancient giants, and I guess by this logic, the Onis, because I think the Onis are half giants too by extension, do they believe in Nika? Because how far, we still don't know about giant genealogy. We still don't know how far that goes. I would love an explanation. I hope we get it in Elbaf, because this whole thing is incredible, bruh. All that makes so much sense. That makes all the sense in the world. That he's a deity of the giants, which is why he has all these gigantification abilities. It just makes so much sense. So I wonder, in the way that Nika is depicted, is he supposed to be a giant? Is the human fruit model Nika actually a giant fruit in like some weird off-brand way? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But it's just a super interesting thing to think about. Okay, so now going up to the top, back up to the top, we have a layout of Yamato's adventure, because this is a volume 4 of the Only Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage. And Kinemon asks, I ask you to complete the pilgrimage to the Hakumai and return the sword to Enma's shrine in the late Yashua's stead. And we have a map of where her journey is going to go. So she's supposed to return the sword to the shrine. And I guess seeing as how this takes her all around Wano, once she completes this journey, her pilgrimage will be complete. So this is really, I hope this isn't pulling the rug out from under us again, because this is very, point blank, obviously stating where she needs to go in order for her pilgrimage to be complete. So this is probably going to be one of the longer cover stories, because I think, much like Odin, like I said before, she's going to pick up a gaggle of little buddies along the way to the shrine. And then they will become like the protectors of Wano, or I guess the new vassals of Momonosuke in her stead, in a way. She'll head off all these guys to Momonosuke, which, depending on who they may be, and I've always said it's probably going to be Ulti, Page One, Jack, and maybe Carrot, but I think Carrot is going to do what Nekomamushi and Inugarashi did back in the day, and when Yamato sets off to sail, Carrot will be a stowaway on her ship, and then they'll both go off together to find Luffy and the gang. That's at least what I think, because it's weird both in the anime and the manga, I'll say again, that we don't see Carrot actually leaving. It's also very interesting too that in this chapter, as we're going around the world, we do not hit Zoe. Zoe is left out. It makes sense that that Skypiea is left out, because of course they're cut off from the world, but Zoe is a little weird. It makes sense, but it's weird. So yeah, that's what I think the outline of her journey is going to be. And then I think at the end of this whole pilgrimage, we're going to see her make her way to the Striates. So most likely everything will come to a head in Elbaf. That's the likelihood of the situation. At least that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so the news has broke that the world is going to sink. We get shots of everybody all across the world. In this marine shot, it's very interesting that in most of the marine shots, Hina is there. I don't know what that means, but I find that super interesting that they always make sure to show Hina. Aki Inu is pissed, of course. In Mocktown, which is in Jaya, everyone's laughing at Vegapunk, which is very on brand. The transponder snail, or the video transponder snail, apparently belongs to Doflamingo because it has this Jolly Roger on the back of it. So, that's weird. There's still Don Quixote family presence in Mocktown. Weird. I don't know. That's weird. We got Paulie back in Water 7 talking about it. He probably knows about Iceberg's plans to turn Water 7 to like a vessel similar to Thriller Bark. So he's not surprised, but he's a bit shaken up about the rising tides, which makes a lot of sense. And then we get to the man himself, Don Quixote do Flamingo, and he's laughing at Magellan, asking, hey bro, what you gonna do with the prison floods? And Magellan's like, that was a problem earlier when the sea level rose about 1 meter. And Doflamingo eerily says, we could always go to somewhere higher. What do you mean by that, Dofi? What does that mean? Very interesting words. What does that mean? I often wonder, will he join Cross Guild? I wonder about that. Or is it going to be like a big prison break? Thoughts. Because technically, right, Magellan's not the warden anymore. He's the vice warden, right? If I recall. Because it's Hannibal is the new chief warden. Can't remember if he's like the dual warden with Hannibal or he's like the vice warden. Because Saldev, who had a major growth splurt during the time skip and is dating Sadie-chan, he got a promotion as well, and I think he's vice warden. Cannot recall. We hit back to Fisherman Island. I keep forgetting how big Shirahoshi is. She's as big as Neptune. That's crazy. But they're just kind of befuddled by the whole situation, and the Ryugu Palace is there. Man, it's immaculate. Even this tiny palace is immaculate. Art's incredible. Flashback to Egghead. Marines are just kind of mad about the entire situation. The 5 elders are trying their hardest by telepathically communicating with one another to shut the broadcast down. I wonder what that power is. That could be observation hockey. It reminds me of like back at Dragon Ball, they used to do that. So hey, maybe this is a form of observation hockey. I'm not sure. We see York cursing Sella and running off somewhere with a bazooka. It is interesting that she's around because I got a prediction based on what happens in later. This is Alabasta. I didn't even notice this the first reading round. Alabasta gets the news as well. Yeah, because people are in desert wear. You see palm trees. This is Alabasta, I think. Alabasta gets the news too. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. And we have smaller islands across the world flooding as Vegapunk talks about it. Then we see Smoothie and Montdor commenting on what Vegapunk says about the earthquake that happened earlier and are perplexed about how he was able to predict the earthquake despite being dead as this recording is going on. So yeah, that lets you know, or at least it lets the people of the world know that no, he's not full of guff. He's actually telling the truth. We flash back to Long Ring Long Land, and we see the really long horse of the guy on stilts. We flash back to the pirate island, Hachinosu, also known as Beehive, I believe. And we see Kuzan reacting to the news as well as the rest of the pirates on the island. They are not happy about what's going on, apparently. Though some seem to be laughing in the background, I can't tell. Cut back to Egghead on the Labo phase. The Straw Hats are facing off against Saturn and are hitting them with everything they got, including Lilith. Saturn pushes them back. Robin catches them with a spider web. I guess he just smushes Chomper. I'm sure Chomper's fine though, but it's funny how Garpoint just kind of like gets pushed down. And no one has done that before. That's crazy. Not in 20 years of this transformation existing has anyone like actually done something to Garpoint, not even Big Mom. So he just gets pushed down, but I'm sure he's fine. Saturn's face is burning, which is crazy. But I think this is him activating his weird sight ability, and he says "be gone" and pushes everybody back. He rushes for the laboratory, and here we see the Mother Flame. The Mother Flame is contained in a weird, like almost like Saiyan pod or bathysphere looking thing, and it appears to be filled with some sort of liquid. In the middle, you see a singular flame. The machine has the titles S-08, which I know is a Buddhism thing, but I'm not sure that applies here. And then we have A and MU. So A-mu, like emu, perhaps? Not sure, but very interesting thought. But then we see Saturn turn back into his human state, which, okay, first of all, whoever said, I don't know who this was, but whoever said that the Gorosei needed the magic circles to transform, that is highly incorrect. They're acting like Zoan powers. I'm just saying, the man turned back into his human state. Matter of fact, you see him go from the weird beast state into the hybrid state, then into his human state. So you see all three states of Saturn in this chapter. I don't know if that like full beast form, if it is the full beast form, because he still has a human head. You would think he would be more like bull-like since he's supposed to be a that yokai. But yeah, no, the powers work like Zoan powers. I don't know why this is such a discrepancy, because I forgot which video I was watching. Somebody said they needed the magic circles that Saturn makes in order to transform. No, they don't. They do this on a whim. You saw this like a few chapters ago. I think like last chapter even, with Mars. He transformed from a bird to his human state to behold the giant head of Vegapunk. It's not that complicated. The powers that they have act like Zoan fruit abilities. So Occam's razor suggests that they're probably Zoan fruit abilities. And like I said in a short, they're probably just older than Doe fruit classification, which is why the powers are called what they are called. At least that's my thinking. It could not be the case, but that's what I think. But yeah, I wonder if the flame inside this weird bathysphere chamber thing is a Lunarian flame, because Lunarian flames, at least the flames on their backs, seem to stay lit indefinitely until the Lunarian turns them off. I don't remember if they stay on if the Lunarian is unconscious, but I don't think they do. But hey, this flame could be extracted from King. I don't know, but there has to be something special about it. And I think this is the fire too that is the power source for the entire island, because I remember early on in Egghead, it was Lilith that said that the island ran on firepower. So perhaps they extracted this flame from King, and now Vegapunk uses this flame to power the island somehow. Not sure, but that could be the case. We cut back to the shoreline, and we see that the giant iron giant is still wreaking havoc, which is very interesting because I wonder where this plot point is going to go, because he really hasn't done anything. So I wonder what this is about. But cut back to the battle at hand with Brocky, Dory, and Luffy against Warcreep, and they're still fighting. I guess from this depiction, it seems as though Warcreep has some sort of pyrokinetic abilities, because I forgot where this fire came from. I think this is new. Cutting back, we then go to Mary Joas, Emu, and then a lot of the Celestial Dragons are reacting to Vegapunk's news. The interesting part to take from this, it's not really Emu themselves, because it's just like an ellipses, it's just ... But we have, I think her name is Shira, or Shirla, the daughter of Rose Ward and the sister of Saint Charlos. And she reacts to the news very inquisitively, saying, the Void Century, what is he talking about? Because this is the part of Vegapunk's message in which he's about to tell us about the importance of the Void Century, or at least what he knows about the Void Century. But what's super interesting about this is that it's always only two families in the Celestial Dragons that get any kind of spotlight. Roseward's family, because remember, Roseward himself was riding on Kuma. St. Charlos, Roseward, and Shira were the first Celestial Dragons we ever see in the story back at Saboti Archipelago. And it's weird that she has different characterization now from her brother and father, because she is interested about what's going on. So I wonder if she's going to be a more important character than both of them, because both of them have always been seen in a very shady and crummy light, but not her now. And she never has done anything extremely vicious. But why this is interesting, because it's only them and then the Don Quixote family, because we have, of course, Don Quixote Mjolsgard, who was the first Celestial Dragon that we know of that was actually changed by Queen Otahime. Then we have his dad, which we don't have a name for, I don't think. We have Don Quixote Doflamingo, of course. We have his brother Rosinante, and then his father Homing, whom he killed, and then Homing's wife, who goes unnamed, or at least I don't know her name off the top of my head. But it's strange that it's just been these two families so far. Everybody else has just been like filler. Weird guys wearing supposedly diving suits now, given what this is all about, and having weird whale tail hairstyles. And I recently found out that there's some inspiration for these guys from the film The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, I believe it's called. I'll put it up on screen. But yeah, it's the same place that the inspiration from Van Valker came about in, and I made a video about that. But yes, it's super interesting that she gets focused now, and it's only been the Don Quixote family and her family that have ever gotten focus out of all the Celestial Dragons. Moving on, though, we go to Elbaf, and we see the big man, Jaguar D. Saul. So if you didn't know, now you know. Jaguar D. Saul is alive. The big mummy that Vegapunk met way years back in the Library of Elbaf, that indeed was Saul. So Saul is alive, no doubt. Cutting back to Orange Town in the East Blue, where the Straw Hats fought Buggy, and we see a little Straw Hat on top, what I believe is the mayor's office. That's great. That's great. And we see Choo Choo again. Oh, the boy next to his fountain. And I think this is Mayor Woodle, because Wooslap is the mayor of Luffy's hometown, Fuchsia Village. So this is Woodle, or Boodle. Boodle, I think it is Boodle. And he's doing well. That's good. That's good. We cut to Amazon Lily and Marguerite, and some of the girls are reacting to this news about how Vegapunk says that the research of deciphering what's in the poneglyphs is taboo. And thanks to the help of the scholars of Ohara, he got a bit of information, and he tells us that history is a story after all. As this is happening, the clouds of the Labo phase are starting to extend. This, of course, is caused by Edison, who is elsewhere controlling the clouds from some room, and wishes the Straw Hats well as he presumably dies from his injuries. Which, it's interesting now that this is probably his last panel before he passes. So this makes me think, is Atlas going to be the last one to go? Because she's the last one that we know for sure is a robot. So I still think it's only going to be Lilith and York left. High possibility. It could just be York, but I think it's going to be York and Lilith, just given the extent of screen time she's been given to in the anime. because now recently in the anime, they've been doing these little cuts in which they explain characters that show up in Egghead, like Lucy and Sitamaru and such. So it's interesting that so far she's been in the majority of these little explanations along with Edison. So it's very likely that she and York are going to be the only ones to leave the island. It's also very interesting, like I've said in the past, that so far Lilith and York seem to be the only Vegapunk satellites that are fully biological. They don't, at least obviously, seem to have any cybernetic parts like the rest of them and Stella himself. So it's very likely that these two were made this way for a particular reason narratively so that they would stand out. But time will tell, we shall see. But the point about this is that the clouds now extend past the shoreline, so the Thousand Sunny can now harmlessly drop into the ocean, probably with a coup de burst. Cut back to Luffy fighting Warcurry. He goes gear 5th, punches Warcurry right in the nose, and that's when we get the information that at least 900 years ago, there was a guy named Joy Boy, and he too had the power of stretching with an elastic body, and he resembled the deity Nika from Elbaf. So that means he was a Delphid user. And the interesting part here too is that this punch, this gear 3rd-esque punch that Luffy does at gear 5th on Warcurry does not work, and his hand bursts into flame when he hits Warcurry. So Warcurry does have some sort of pyrokinetic ability. And last but not least, and I forgot to mention this, but Joy Boy was the first pirate. What? Oh my days! Joy Boy was the first pirate in history. Oh boy. Oh man. Oh baby. So Joy Boy created piracy. Oh, this is huge, bruh. Oh. This is huge. Joy Boy was the first. I don't think anybody called this. Out of the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of videos I have seen people talk about like Joy Boy, I don't think anybody predicted that he was the first pirate in history, bar none. What does this mean, bruh? Oh, this is crazy. Well, I'm sorry, Roger. You're out with the trash. You don't matter anymore. Oh, man. Yo. So, did Joy Boy technically make the One Piece? And then Roger was the first person to find the One Piece, but he wasn't the right person. So that's why he led this worldwide treasure hunt for the right person to find the treasure, or letting the people know that the treasure exists. Bruh. Oh man, bruh. Because that can only be what it means, right? And I wonder now, because what people have been saying, I will give people credit. People have been saying that the Buccaneers were probably the first pirates. So this could mean that whomever Joy Boy is, which most likely he was a giant, but he could have been a Buccaneer. What this means is that it's possible that the Buccaneers were the first pirate crew. Like these half giants were his pirate crew, and then they just took all the name Buccaneer, and that was passed down from generation to generation. And of course, they would be close to Nika as well, because the ancestors of the Buccaneers were the shipmates of the man who became the sun deity, because he's the only one in history, as far as we know, who has awakened this fruit. So it makes sense that the crew of this guy then became the Buccaneers. And the reason why this is so important, because the ancestors of these people actually saw the man in action, and they have the hope that in some weird way that this deity does exist and the principles that he does spread do matter. Bruh, this means so much. This means so much, bro. I can't even imagine, bro. Oh man, what the implications? Because now what this means is that I wonder, where is this going to take Luffy in terms of lore? Like when they go to Elbaf, is there going to be a grand banquet because he did awaken the fruit? And I mean, his water poster is public knowledge now. And if there was any race who knows even an inkling of what Nika looks like, it would be the Giants. So that's just a lot to think about, man. All the oncoming chapters are going to be crazy, dog. They are going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait to record the Rose Gold podcast, bro. Oh, we got so much to talk about. But yeah, this is amazing to me because, so like, man, being the first pirate, what else could this mean for the series? Like, what kind of crew did he have? How did he go on recruiting people? How do you sell the idea of piracy to people who don't know anything about piracy? Like, how did this crew form? What was his first ship? What was the first pirate's ship? That's another thing. Wouldn't it be crazy if it looked somewhat like like Bartolomeo's ship, and it had what Joy Boy looks like when he's awakened? It just had that on the front. What if? Stupid. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. We have plenty of time to talk about it because there's a break next week. I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry. Right out of Golden Week, we got another break. So your boy Pauly P Works has got the content coming. I've been making videos all this time. Please go check them out. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Give me your thoughts, bro. Oh my days. This is amazing. I love One Piece.